Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Biden and the Democrats are in trouble with black people, but especially black men. Now, we know swing states they are paying attention to, and we're going to talk about one of the swing states, Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan, to be exact. Now, black men have been discounted out of the Democrat Party. Black men aren't prioritized, and black men has had enough. Black men are supposed to provide for their communities. Black men are supposed to protect our communities. And we have seen that the Democrat Party, the black preacher, has done so many things to undermine black men from taking care of their wives, their children, their mothers, their aunts, their sisters, or anyone else that's underneath our care. Now, in Pontiac, Michigan, there was a brother by the name of Brian Killian Bay, 59 years old. He's a brother that, was driving his truck in his city and went to the core of the city, and he has seen a rapid decline over the years of economic turmoil. Leaving streets once lined with vibrant homes and businesses, it said now riddled with empty lots. It said, without fail, the brother said, Democratic canvassers show up around election time, vowing to improve conditions for him and his neighbors, but it never happens. He voted for Biden in 2020, but this time, Killian Bay says he and others in his predominantly black neighborhood aren't so sure. He said, and I quote, I'm torn between voting and not voting at all. He said, a lot of us are. In other words, the couch for a lot of people is going to win the election. He said, I don't think Biden is it. He said, but I don't see what else is out there. Now, he said he wants Democrats to give me substance. He said, you can't dangle carrots and assume we'll vote for you just because we don't like the other platform. Yeah, and see that strategy of, hey, vote for me because I'm not Trump. I'm not the Republicans. So you don't want to vote for them, right? Because remember when Biden said this?
We're going to put you all back in chains.
Yeah, see, that kind of stuff, right? So vote for me so the Republicans won't put y'all back in chains. They say, well, wait a minute, hold on. What are you going to do? Listen, y'all had 60 years to show black people what you're going to do, and you haven't done nothing. And your only defense is this?
We're going to put you all back in chains.
That's the only defense you got? They're going to put black people back in chains? Really? You putting us in worse chains. Economic chains. That's worse than any other chain. Now, they say a series of polls, they say in recent months have alarmed party strategists, they say in liberal organizers, and reportedly frustrated the president, who is facing a tight race for re-election against former President Donald Trump, the Republican front runner. Why is he frustrated? Let's talk about that. If anybody going to be frustrated, he needs to be frustrated at himself. Because he had plenty of time to do it right for black folk. If he would have got in the office and did for black people as soon as he got in there, because he lied to black people and said, hey, you had my back and I have yours. He lied. He straight lied to black people. He had everybody else's back. As soon as he got in there, he did that anti-Asian hate crime bill. He did that. He gave Ukraine so much money. He's been in office, he's been giving money. He pulled out of Afghanistan. There are billions of dollars worth of military equipment there for the Taliban. After spending 20 plus years in that country, get involved with Ukraine, just giving them money, giving them weapons, giving them this, giving them that, while the black community is continuing to go to hell in a handbasket. Yes, white Americans are complaining. Yes. But you better understand, when white America has a cold, black folks have pneumonia. It's always been like that in this country. Biden had years to show the black community that he was going to do something for them. And they still keep playing games with black folks. Well, let's continue. So they said a New York Times Siena poll in late October found that 22% of black voters in 6 battleground states, including Michigan, will support Trump if the general election were held that day, while 71% said at that time they would support Biden. I say Trump won, they say, the support of 8% of black voters in 2020. They say 6% in 2016, according to Pew Research Center validated voter study. Although few strategists believe Trump could get 20% of the black vote next election, and say even a small uptick would spell trouble for Biden, especially in swing states with large shares of black voters, such as Michigan, where Biden edged Trump 50.6% to 47.8% in 2020. And if you know anything about the election in 2020, if you went to bed around 11 p.m., you woke up in the morning by 6, all of a sudden, overnight, Biden had like 100,000 votes, kept coming in for days, always at night, so I'm going to leave it at that. They say a realistic danger for Biden political strategy says that dissatisfaction among some black voters may drive them to sit it out in November. Now, how many years have we been talking about that people are going to be sitting it out? Why? Why would they sit it out? If you don't do nothing for me, why am I incentivized to get out of my house, get in my car, drive to the election booth, go through all that for nothing? What? So you can get in office and give the migrants? So you can give the migrants all my money, because yes, your tax dollars is your money. So you want to give all my money to the migrants who didn't vote anything. They just came in yesterday and they getting all my resources that belong to my community, right? That belong to my city, that belong to my neighborhood. That they don't vote, they get everything. The Ukrainians, they didn't vote, they get everything. The Israel, Palestine, you want to give them money. They didn't vote for anything. So why should I be sitting up here facilitating you to give all my tax dollars to people that's not even participating in the process? No. Now, Cliff Albright, he's the co-founder of Black Voters Matter Fund, which he's, funded by the folks, said that while polls do not mean the sky is falling for Biden's campaign, he said it might be drizzling. He said conservative talking points have resonated with some black voters who feel disillusioned or have economic grievances, even though Biden has made more significant gains in reducing unemployment and creating jobs in his first 3 years than Trump did, including for black Americans. Let's talk about those jobs for a minute. They say, we reduced the black unemployment rate. Problem. You can only check unemployment rates when people are filing unemployment claims. There's a lot of people that can't even get unemployment. That's one. Then let's talk about the quality of the jobs that people are getting. We got black folk who working full-time jobs and homeless. You remember a few podcasts ago, a brother in Boston working a full-time job and homeless, but the migrants was taking the community center and they was getting a place to stay while you got a black person working full-time. So Biden would say, see, that's a job for black people. And yet he couldn't have a place to stay. But that's a job for black people, though. It's not about having a job. It's about having a quality job where I can have a roof over my head, a car to drive, clothes on my back, food to eat, right? So let's really talk about that. All the spikes in prices that this administration has not done anything about. Let's continue. They say that it's speaking to the idea that Democrats haven't done anything for you, because they haven't. They say they've let you down and taken you for granted. That's what Albright said, but I always say in every piece of disinformation is a kernel of truth. They find that kernel, that grievance, and they feed on it. Now let's talk about the term disinformation. Disinformation is intentionally putting out a lie to mislead people, to confuse people, right? That's intentionally putting out a lie. Is it a lie for the black community to say the Democrat Party haven't done anything for black folk? No, that's not a lie. That's not disinformation at all. That is called the truth. That is information that our community needs. Now, when you hear the term misinformation just says that, let's say, if you believe a piece of information as it is truth, right, and you put it out there, but then later you find out, that I was wrong, That's misinformation. Like you just misinformed about something, but it wasn't intentional, right? What the Democrats do is constant disinformation to our community. They constantly say, we've done a lot for black people, but yet why so many black people say you haven't? Then they use symbolism and say, see, we done that for black people. No, you did that for black individuals. You know what I'm saying? See, when you hear black people talking about the stimulus, it's because it went to black people as well. Not a few black individuals, but it went to black people. You understand? So let's continue. It said the administration says Biden has delivered for black voters in numerous ways. How did he do that? The black unemployment rate hit at an all-time low of 4.7% last spring, yet black folks got jobs and homeless. It said the administration has created programs to boost historically black colleges and black-owned small businesses. That only benefits a few individuals when it comes to colleges. And what did he do to boost black-owned small businesses? What did he do? I'm in business. What did he do? So specifically for black American businesses. I haven't heard of no initiatives. Nobody told me, hey, man, they got some money over here for black-owned businesses, man. You want to go ahead and get that money? You know, there's some grants over here. It's you know what I'm saying? Not loans, grants that, you know, you could put in for businesses. No, I ain't heard nothing about it. So what you mean black-owned small businesses? It said the Justice Department has launched investigations into law enforcement agencies for systemic misconduct. That's a function of government. You're supposed to be out here trying to stop police officers who are breaking the law, who's doing things that's not right. Why you say, well, see, we did that for black people. Like, so in order for the police not to be beating us and shooting us in the back, right? And you stop them, you are attempting or halfway attempting to stop them. That's what you claim. That's doing something specifically for black people? No, that should be done just as a function of government, right? Continue to say Biden has diversified the courts in unprecedented ways. Once again, federal judges. That's what they're talking about. The majority of people don't deal with federal judges. The majority of people deal with your city judges, your state judges. Most people. To go to a federal court is not the norm for most people. Okay, you put them on a court. How does that benefit the whole of the 47 million black people in this country? It doesn't benefit the whole. What are they ruling on that's going to make our lives better? Now, they continue to say more black women have been appointed to the federal circuit courts than any other president in American history has appointed. Biden said in the recent black church in Charlotte, South Carolina, he said every single solitary one counted, and we're going to keep going. Once again, the Democrats play this divide and conquer strategy with black men and women. And they give black women a lot of symbolism, but they don't give black women the substance. Even in the Democrat Party, black women don't run that party. They claim black women are the backbone, or they'll do some symbolism for black women, but black women are still the lowest paid over the white woman. Democrats haven't fixed that. Black women are more incarcerated than the white woman. Democrats haven't fixed that. So what do you mean? You play a game with black women. You may allow them to have more social services that black men can't get. And really because of the social services that you give will have black women voting for you a little more because of social services, to be honest with you, or some of the set-asides, or you let them have more positions in the party. So they a little bit more loyal to you a little bit. But we having more and more black women wake up every day and see the symbolism, the social programs keep them in poverty. They're not progressing as well. They're losing their jobs constantly. They're in student loan debt. Black women hold more student loan debt than any other group. Any other group. Now, they continue to say, but black men are more likely than black women to vote for Republicans. As in 2016, 14% of black men supported Trump, compared to 4% of black women, according to Pew's validated voter study, helping fuel a Republican narrative that black men were a potentially fruitful source of converts. And they actually are. If the Republicans would tweak just a few things, Democrats will never win. They'll never get black men. It's just that simple. Now, in 2020, it said 12% of black men supported Trump compared to 5% of black women. They say, they quote, there's an assumption that because Donald Trump is Donald Trump, he'll have zero support among black voters. They say they couldn't be further from the truth. They say among a small subset of black men, there's more of a willingness to entertain Republican overtures, and they're distinctly gendered. They say black women are less likely to entertain it. They say many voters say they are disappointed that Biden, despite his promises, failed to win a sweeping voting rights bill or police reform legislation. They say while that is largely due, they say, to Republican opposition, some civil rights leaders argue that Biden did not spend enough political capital on such bills because he didn't care about them. He didn't use this quote unquote bully pulpit. He didn't pressure Congress. He didn't call them out. He didn't do anything. Okay? Nothing. Because he just did that as being performative to get y'all vote. They say, especially compared to, say, with favorite causes like the Ukraine war. Biden cares about Ukraine. Let's call it what it is. That's his people. That's a fellow, them folks. Maybe they speak a different language. They from a different part of the world, but that's his people. They say, now, in any case, civil rights measures often resonate less with black men. Now, why do they resonate less with black men? They say, who may view economic prosperity as a more realistic way to get ahead, said a Theodore Johnson, a scholar on race and electoral politics at the think tank New America. He said, and I quote, Democrats talk a lot about the Voting Rights Act, the Supreme Court, and Republicans using the filibuster to prevent good things from happening. Say the implication is the only way civil rights can be advanced if we pass more laws and get more favorable rulings on racial equity, Johnson said. They say, but some black men say, to hell with that. They said, this is America, a capitalistic country. And if I'm well off, people will treat me right because the color green is more important than the color of my skin. Oh, boy, 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 boy. And that's the black men that said that understand what it is. I'm a black man in this country, okay? And I can tell you when you have more economic opportunity, people look at you different versus when you don't have anything. You have more opportunity to even defend yourself if you need to, right? Black men are better off with an injection of capital like reparations. We're way better off with opportunities to open businesses, opportunities to get skilled trades, to get certain certifications, something where we can make some money. See, giving women Section 8, welfare, food stamps doesn't do anything. I'd rather not give that and rather give you a trade, pay for you to get a trade, pay for you to get a CDL. If you're going to go to college, pay you to get something where you're going to come out, you're making $80,000 plus a year when you come out of college. You understand what I'm saying? See, black men understand we don't have the luxury to be always talking about, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that as black men. Yes, we know racism exists in America. Yes, we do. We know we've had supervisors that's been racist and everything. Oh, we're going to quit our job because he racist? We say this, as long as he don't say the N-word to me or do nothing disrespectful to me or put his hand on me, we good. I ain't got to talk to that racist fool. I ain't got to talk to him. But in the day, I got to keep these lights on. So I got to go get my money. I got to keep a roof over my head. You understand? I got to put clothes on my back, my children's back. I got to pay for my wife. You understand? And so the more money I have, man, look, I can remove myself from racist people with money. I can go stay in whatever city I want. I can go buy me some land. I can build something. I can build a fortress away from everybody if I want to with money. My health care will be better with money. My food will be better with money. Like, well, like you can pass all the civil rights measures you want. What's the point of having civil rights measures all the time and I ain't got no money? I'm broke. Now, I'm not against us having civil rights. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, oh, racial equity. You can have racial equity all day. What's the point of racial equity and you got nothing in your bank account? You can't feed your kids. You homeless. What's the point of racial equity at that point? But yet you're watching the migrants come in here and getting papered up. That's what black men are talking about right there. They ain't got no problem. Democrats got no problem giving migrants millions of dollars. So much so they're cutting city services to give migrants money. But they wouldn't dare cut a service to get a black man money. And black men aren't asking for city services to be cut to help black men. We're not even saying just give us money outside of reparations, what you owe. But black men say, look, we just need the opportunity to make some bread so we take care of our families. They run around here talking about reproductive rights. Reproductive rights will not keep none of these lights on right now. Reproductive rights won't pay the internet bill. Reproductive rights won't pay a mortgage or rent, car note, insurance, car insurance, health insurance. It won't buy school supplies when your kids go back to school. It's not going to pay for extracurricular activities. It's not going to pay for daycare. See, this is what we're talking about as black men. So the symbolism, man, we don't care about that as black men. So when we talk about some Republicans, yeah, especially if you got a business, you're thinking, dog, I need to holler at them on some things they doing. Oh, cutting taxes? Oh, I'm with that. Oh, I'm with that 100%. Whatever you got to do, cut taxes or promote business, a lot of black men want to hear that. Or do something where brothers could make some money. Now, let's continue. They say for black men, they say in metro and suburban Detroit, they say Pontiac is roughly 30 miles northwest of the city. They say grievances against Biden and Democrats run. They say the gamut. They say Brian Snyder, executive director of Detroit Action, which promotes civic engagement among black and low-income residents, said black voters feel used by the Democrats. They said that, and I quote, you hear Biden's looking out for Latinos. Biden's looking out for the Asians. You say they passed an anti-Asian hate bill, but where's our legislation? Exactly. This is what our people have been talking about. They say other times they said it's, well, Trump gave me the stimulus check, or it's Trump isn't that bad. And say, yeah, he didn't do anything for our communities, but at least someone is telling it like it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, brothers really looking at the situation. Now they continue to say if you can send $800 million to Ukraine, you can't tell me you can't facilitate that student loan situation whatsoever, said a DeMar Bias. He's 45, lives in Pontiac, and a local government employee. He said student loans, homelessness, some of that could have been eradicated. He said, but then we sent that money overseas. Or Kerry Tolbert, also a Pontiac, agreed. He said it's a slap in the face, he said, from this administration. When you watch billions go to other countries and there's no resources for the people right here. Then let's add this, the migrant situation. The migrant situation is not only taking money, now they're cutting city services and all of that. I just saw in Denver, they're trying to cut from city services $180 million so they can give money and take care of the migrants. And you think black folks in Denver is going to sit up here and go put Democrats back in office? Just like our sister Carter Trust said, and it's true. Republicans, it's your time. It's your time to shine right now, especially with this migrant crisis. If y'all would, the two things y'all need to get up off of. Listen, I know y'all got a white supremacist wing in your party. Y'all would win so many elections if you just divorce yourself from that wing. You would actually win so many elections. That's the only reason why you won't get the amount of black votes. See, the Democrats play the game. The Democrats feel just like y'all feel a lot of times. And I'm not saying all Republicans feel that way, but we talking about some of your base is like that. Now, the Democrats, they are the closeted ones. Some of y'all and the Republicans, y'all up front with it. They're closeted. So they play the game a lot more. They're smiling in black people's face. They'll say, oh, we believe in equity and inclusion. Oh, yeah, you know, we want black people to have civil rights, but they never want you to have economic freedom. You understand? Civil rights and reproductive rights, which they only target black people with reproductive rights. They don't go to migrant women telling them about reproductive rights, right? They don't go to Asian women. They don't go to no other women. And listen, I'm going to do a video on the Black Congregation channel I have where Planned Parenthood was at a school and some black administrators ran they behind off the block trying to target black girls with Planned Parenthood. You don't see them at the migrant shelters giving them Planned Parenthood. Now, do you? Listen, let me tell y'all something, Democrats. The jig is up. The jig is up. Black men, we done with y'all. Y'all last little hope that you got is maybe some black women. And that's going to be weighing thin, because I've talked to a lot of black women, and more black women are starting to get away from the Democrat Party. They're sickened. Either they have went to being independent, which I support 2,000% being independent, and some of them have went to the Republican side. I support more being an independent. If you want to be a Republican, that's fine. But the reason why I say I support being independent, we shouldn't be tied to the Democrats. We shouldn't be tied to Republicans. You understand? We should be tied to policies and what you're going to do for us as a community that's going to benefit us. And economic empowerment is the most important than anything else. Economic empowerment. And black men understand that. We understand that. The Democrats have no problem giving you social programs or anything that's not going to economically empower you. The Democrats don't care about ending slavery for real in this country, which is removing the exception clause out the 13th Amendment. And you talk about young people, you're going to have to push to end the exception clause out of the 13th Amendment. Slavery should not be legal in the country, even in prison. In my opinion, this is what I say about prison. Those guys work in prison, ladies, they need to be paid minimum wage. And that minimum wage go to their commissary. So they don't have people in there having to be savage and everything else behind commissary. When they get out of prison, they got money in their commissary, they're cut a check on their way out. And they got that money out of their commissary. But see, the system don't want prisoners to even work a minimum wage for the work they're doing. They want them to work for free or paying them $1 or $2 a day. This is why you have the slavery clause in the 13th Amendment. I'm not saying that for them not to work in prison. I'm just saying that IBM and Microsoft and all these companies that's benefiting off of prison labor, they should be paying those prisoners at least a minimum wage. But as long as you got that exception clause in the 13th Amendment that says slavery is legal in this country when you are a prisoner. Now, I've seen some idiots talking about, well, they shouldn't be committing crimes. Yeah, the country that black people lead the most in exonerations, this country, black folks lead in that. For every crime, we lead in exonerations. So you got black people sitting in jail who did not commit a crime right now. Or if they did commit a crime, I'm not saying they shouldn't go to jail, but if they did commit a crime, they should get the same sentence that a white person get. Not a white person get a lesser sentence and a black person get double or triple the numbers. And listen, I'm the type of person, if you say, Phil, how would you reform the prison system? Very easily, very, very easily. I would do more home confinement for nonviolent offenses only, nonviolent. You know, your financial crimes, and it depends what your financial crimes are. Because I would be like, look, I want you to pay it back. What's the point of you sitting in prison? You ain't paying it back. Well, they get out, they have to pay a restitution. They can be in home confinement and they can be, working jobs and paying things back, right? I don't think nonviolent people need to be in a prison where the people out there that have killed people, that have done robberies, violent offenses. No, I think nonviolent needs to be home confinement. We can reduce the prison population that way. Now, if they're not doing the terms of home confinement, then at that point, then you send them to the jail. But it needs to be a jail where people that's in there for nonviolent offenses. That's just because America spends a lot of money on prisons. They really do. You can cut into that budget, but prisons is a major cash cow for private companies. And so many things that I would say would be better for America, because you have a country, I just saw the other day, a country like Ghana. Ghana only has about, I think they say 13,000 people in prison. Ghana has a population of 32 million people and only have 13,000 people in prison. Because that's when you're not having a society that's building your prisons off of mass incarceration. You understand? And America has more people in prison than even communist China. What has the Democrats done to end mass incarceration of black people? Nothing. They haven't done a thing. At least Trump did the First Step Act and got black folks out of prison. We saw him getting folks out of prison. We saw it. A lot of black folks actually came home with the First Step Act. Even Democrat Van Jones is up there with Trump to get that done. What has Biden done? What has he done to get black folks out? If Biden really wanted to do good, he could do it. He could say, you know what, we got to reverse the 1994 crime bill, and everybody that got put in jail for that, they need to be out with their records clean. That's how Biden can make up for what he did in 94. But he's not doing that. He don't want to. He has no problem with the mass incarceration of black people. But we supposed to go out and vote for that guy. Please. No. Black men got it right. And more black men and black women. And just like I talked to Sister Carter Trust, I'm about to start talking to some sisters that is sick and tired of that Democrat Party, because y'all really think black women support the Democrats like that. They don't. I'm telling you, black men don't support them and black women don't support them like y'all think. More of them probably sit it out than anything, but they don't support them like that. Biden's in trouble with black women too. He gonna find out. Look what happened in Georgia with Stacey Abrams. That was a preview. Oh, trust me. Watch what happens in the election. And see, they don't have a chance now to do some funny style things. So that's why they're trying to do everything in their power to get Trump in jail. But you see the situation, the strongest case that maybe they had against Trump was in Georgia. But look at old Fannie Willis. She couldn't you know, let me say this in a nice way. Fannie Willis, Fannie, whatever you want to call her, she just couldn't help herself. She had to be, you know, having this relationship with this man who was married. You know, lying, saying she did, you know, putting her boo on as a special prosecutor, cashing him out, taking her own trips. Oh boy, that was interesting. That whole situation interesting. And now they say that she could potentially even be disqualified from even having that. Then they got whistleblowers in her office trying to go to the Capitol up there and testify against her about her dealings. So Fannie Willis, it's going to be interesting to see that situation, right? But where's the Democrats coming to her defense? Y'all notice y'all black Democrats? They put y'all up to do things, but yet they don't come defend you. They never defend y'all. Let me tell you something, Alvin Bragg, you next. When they finish with Fannie Willis, oh, you next. Trust me, Alvin Bragg, you are next. They're already mad at you about that migrant situation, letting them migrants out of jail for them cops. But, oh, when it comes to that Trump case, oh, you definitely next, brother. Trust me on that.